Welcome to Research the Law. I am Brad Charles. I'm a professor at Western Michigan University, Cooley Law School, and this is video 1.1. We're going to research our global client issue for Research the Law. So let's get right to it. Now, we're not going to use all the skills that you see in step 1 here. We're going to use just the ones that apply to this Hey Prof scenario. So the first thing that we need to be aware of is that we need to have a plan. You just can't wing it. If you wing it, you're going to get lost in all the information fog that is out there. Now, under skill 1.5, you need to understand the scope of your assignment. The goal number 1 is we need to write up our analysis, and because this is going to be more in-depth, we're going to write it up in a full office memo, something like you're writing for your class in your research and writing class. And there's an example here in Appendix A. So we're looking for law to populate the question presented, the brief answer, and the discussion section. And we'll get more into detail later on as to what exactly goes in there. And then the goal number 2 for understanding our assignment, and this is for any research you do, you're always looking for elements, definitions of those elements, and then case law that illustrates those elements. So any assignment you get, that's basically what you're doing. Elements, the definitions of the elements, and then case law. Sometimes you'll find just elements, sometimes you'll find just case law, sometimes you'll find definitions and elements, sometimes not. So it's some kind of permutation of those 3 things is what you're always looking for. Now, skill 1.6, are we researching state or federal law? Historically, copyright law has been governed by Congress, so that is where we're going to look. This is going to be a federal issue, and that's what I put here in our plan. Now, skill 1.8 is where we frame the issue. Your boss in real life will always give you some kind of more general, broad topic. It will be something like, hey, go research, this copyright issue. Is it a fair use? And a lot of the time, at least at first when you're practicing law, you're not going to know what they're talking about. And so you can ask clarifying questions, do your best to understand the issue as much as you can, and then write that down as your starting point. But then, very importantly, as you research, you need to refine your issue. So at the beginning point, our issue here, which I wrote in the plan, in the issue section at the top of this left column here, is the question is whether Ms. Williams infringed Sony's copyright. And more specifically, is Hey Prof a fair use of Hey Jude? We don't know what fair use means. It's just something our boss said, so we wrote it down, and we're going to refine this as we go. Now, skill 1.9, we need to brainstorm some search terms. There's an area here for you to think about search terms, and there's some categories like cause of action, area of law, parties, places, things, defenses, relief, and so on. So obviously we're going to be looking in the area of copyright infringement, so I put that there. The area of law is important to know what kind of treatise we're looking for when we get to the second step, looking in secondary authority. Skipping defenses, fair use might be a defense to copyright infringement, so we write that down. And then we need to come up with synonyms. So she's kind of making fun of law school, and which is like a lampoon or a parody. So I put in those, the synonym there, parody. I was thinking copyright violation, that might go as an infringement, so that's a synonym. So anyway, just spend some time thinking about the vocabulary, because you're trying to match up the vocabulary that lawyers use and that judges use, that legislators use. So we need to have a wide variety of search terms. Now, skill 1.10 is where we think about connectors. You can do what's called a natural language search, but the best searches, the more precise ones, where you have connectors. So we're going to start with using no connectors to see what we get, which is we're going to search for copyright infringement. And then we can narrow our search if we get too much stuff. We'll do like fair use within the same sentence of parody or lampoon, something like that. This may not make sense if this is your first video that you're watching, your first research, but after you finish chapter 1, all of this will make plenty of sense. All right, so I will see you in video 2.1, where we continue with this research in secondary authority. See you then.